Hello, I'm Rachael McCool and I'm a Project Director at YHEC. This webinar takes a brief look at the various types of literature reviews available and when you might want to consider each. Literature reviews are carried out for many different reasons. Usually there is a specific question you want to answer. This could be about the efficacy and safety of a product, or it could be a broader question seeking to explore the available literature in a specific disease area. Reviews are required by many health technology assessment agencies to inform decision making. For example, NICE typically require a review of the clinical and economic evidence in relation to a product, as well as the utilities and resource use associated with the condition. Reviews are often carried out to inform inputs for economic models. They can be carried out to map the available evidence in a certain area and to identify gaps in the literature, and they can be used early in the product's development to inform trial design. The following slides will look at different types of reviews available and when you might want to consider each. Systematic reviews have increasingly become the gold standard in reviewing. They aim to adopt a scientific approach to identifying and consolidating all the available evidence relevant to a specific research question, and have a number of key features which are designed to aid transparency, replicability, and minimise bias. Systematic reviews are best suited to answering a clear and well-defined research question. They are protocol-driven, which details the predefined eligibility criteria and provides the methods that will be used to produce the review. They are informed by extensive searches to ensure that all relevant literature has been identified. Data are extracted into a standardised data extraction form, ideally by 2 independent reviewers, and the risk of bias of the included studies is assessed. As a result, well-conducted systematic reviews are largely considered to provide the best evidence to inform policy and practice. Although systematic reviews are considered to be the gold standard approach and are required in certain situations, they can be large projects to undertake and can be both time and resource intensive. The size of a systematic review depends on the scope of the question and the volume of relevant literature available. For this reason, they work best if you have a focused and well-defined question with a clear eligibility criteria. They are often required to support HTA submissions, to inform guideline development, and to inform publications and communications. However, other types of reviews may be more suited to other purposes. A rapid review aims to provide a detailed description and synthesis of a body of literature, whilst making concessions to the breadth and depth of the standard systematic review process in order to accommodate a shorter time frame or limited budget. This type of review is useful when there are no regulatory requirements for a systematic review. Rapid reviews adopt various strategies to reduce the time required for completion in relation to a full systematic review, and there is an element of flexibility in terms of which compromises are made in order to meet your requirements. In this slide, we will look at some of the common adaptations that are made to the standard systematic review process for a rapid review. In a systematic review, a predefined protocol is developed with clear eligibility criteria and details of the review methods. In a rapid review, instead of the standard bells and whistles protocol, a brief protocol can be developed. A rapid review may have a simplified and pragmatic search strategy with emphasis on precision as well as sensitivity. Date and language limits can be adopted if necessary, and other techniques can be used to introduce a more focused search. Searches can also be limited to 1 or 2 key databases rather than the exhaustive list of resources you would use in a systematic review. Systematic review guidance recommends double independent record selection. In a rapid review, record selection can be carried out by a single reviewer with a second reviewer checking a sample of the records. Similarly, for data extraction, a single reviewer could conduct the data extraction of a limited list of key data elements. Risk of bias assessment can be omitted if necessary, and the final report can be limited to a brief overview of the methods and tables of the key outcome data. The extent of adaptations are often driven by the time and resource available. Scoping reviews are another useful type of review and generally lend themselves to a broader or more exploratory research question. Scoping reviews are a great way to map the available literature, to identify what literature is available, what the key concepts are in the evidence base, and to identify the gaps in the literature. They are particularly useful at the early stages of a product's life cycle, or where the goal is to categorise or map the evidence base rather than answer a specific question. Scoping reviews can then be followed up with systematic reviews of the emerging key concepts identified. Scoping reviews generally have a broader question and therefore less restrictive eligibility criteria. As a result, there is often a large volume of relevant literature and included studies. The search approach is comprehensive as in a systematic review, but there is flexibility in the subsequent stages so that they can be adapted in a similar way to a rapid review, depending on the aim of the project and the available time and resource. Because the volume of included literature is usually large and the review question quite broad, the data extraction is usually limited to key information that will facilitate further categorization or mapping, and a formal synthesis is not usually required. A systematic review of reviews makes use of the research that has already been conducted, and they are useful when there are already multiple systematic reviews conducted in your field of interest. A review of reviews can be used to answer a broader question than a standard systematic review by combining the findings of reviews of different interventions when each has been explored in separate reviews. A review of reviews should include an assessment of the quality of included reviews, summarise and compare their conclusions, and discuss the strength of these conclusions so that the best evidence is made available to the decision makers or stakeholders. Reviews can be conducted at all stages of a product's life cycle. Rapid reviews are particularly useful at the early stages to identify things that could help inform trial design, such as the key comparators and outcomes assessed across the comparator trials. They can be used to identify barriers and facilitators to uptake and inform decisions around the product's position. Scoping reviews can be used to get a broader understanding of the disease area and current treatment pathways, as well as early identification of potential gaps in the evidence base. Burden of illness reviews can be systematic reviews or can adopt some of the rapid review strategies already discussed to provide an overview of the epidemiological, clinical, economic, and humanistic burden associated with a particular disease area. Systematic reviews can be used across the board, but they are specifically required to support health technology assessment submissions. For example, NICE requires a systematic review of the clinical effects and safety and cost effectiveness of a product, as well as the utilities and resource use of the disease area. The findings of these reviews are often then used to inform the economic model. Post-launch reviews can be published and presented at conferences. Any of these types of reviews can be published as long as the author is transparent about the review methods used. So, in summary, while systematic reviews are largely considered the gold standard, they may not always be necessary, especially where there is no regulatory requirement. There are other methods available for synthesizing the literature. When trying to decide which review design to choose, it's important that you consider the purpose of your review, the type of question, the available budget, and the available time frame, as these will be the key drivers in determining what type of review you may commission. If you would like to know more about this webinar or any of our other webinars, please use the links on the screen. Thank you.